I don't know, if that doesn't get your juices flowing, then what's going on, guys? Like, that was an epic video actually made by our own My Health videographer and editor, Drew Adler. He won the World Fight Challenge. It was a creative expedition, I suppose, that he went on with his actual wife there. She's one of the stunt ladies, and these guys work with our business as well, and they're just absolutely amazing. And it's so incredible to understand the art of combat from a spiritual perspective. Even though some people get a little bit kind of titchy around watching videos like that, we're talking about really confronting our own demon, our own inner demon, our own ego, our own nemesis. The show that we're doing today with Tone and Wendy is going to be so powerful as we start to unpack what's been going on with AI, these forces that we're actually up against, not just here in the 3D, but also in the astral planes. And we might need to get a bit of a fight spirit on. We might need to learn how to defend our own honor, how to command our own space. So let me just say hello to Chris first of all before I bring Tone and Wendy on. Chris.
Welcome, everybody. Great to see you again. That certainly got the blood flowing and the juices pumping watching that video at the start. So I think it's going to be a tremendous show as well. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah. So everyone at home, get yourself like moving, get the blood flowing, get yourself pumped up, because we really need to step into our soul power. The title of our show today is Soul Reclamation. And what does that really mean? Let's bring on Tone and Wendy. Say hello to these powerful souls.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Okay, so soul reclamation, what are we talking about? It's primarily the remembrance of what the soul is, where it comes from, the powers it contains, all of which in this realm has been heavily manipulated by the mind wipe amnesia. So the reclamation is remembering where you come from originally, beyond this construct. And so that's in a nutshell what that means in terms of reclaiming our memories, reclaiming our divine birthright, which is sovereignty as a soul, again, which has been heavily manipulated in this realm. But we are in the process of taking back the steering wheel of that and remembering who and what we are.
Incredible. Wendy, what's going on for us on Earth at this particular time?
Oh, there's so many things that are happening. One of the things that I definitely want to bring up is that many people in their astral state are having memories of past lives coming back in. And because we're on this fast track pace currently, be aware that when you're having these dream segments, many times it's past life memories coming in. It may be multiple lives in one segment. For example, one of the people that I had done a reading for a few months back, she was having a memory of literally holding a baby, cuddling a baby. Then the next segment, a moment later, was getting stabbed in the leg and then kissing a man. It was like 3 completely different lifetimes. But what you need to understand is that when we have an experience, it's etched in our soul memory eternally. And even when we say let things go, we can't let anything go. Anytime we feel the way we felt in a previous life when an experience occurred, it's going to come back to us. And so, for example, in that woman's experiences, she felt that way in 3 of those prominent lifetimes. And so that's why those were coming through to her. So we're having a lot of memories coming back. So it is all coming in alignment with what we're talking about in soul reclamation.
And you both do energetic clearing. So when you say there's no real letting go, what can we actually expect in a process of energetic clearing when some of these memories come up to the conscious mind, but are coupled with a lot of very dense emotions and possibly creating portals, if you like, or holes in the aura where maybe darker entities can start to hook in? What can we expect in an energetic clearing?
Well, I just had this discussion with a client before we got on here. All clearings, all of these sessions are ultimately working with you. You are the one that does the actual healing in the end. What we're doing is providing the extra energy and the fine tuning of the auric field in order for that person to be able to heal that all the way, to see through those past life traumas, and to send the ultimate healing to them. Anything that is really super heavy usually creates a distortion on the auric field. It looks like a black cloud or a gray cloud a lot of the times. And so what we do is go in there and clean that black cloud out. If there's attachments and hooks like that, I'll go in energetically and grab those hooks off the person and then send them into the galactic vacuum for cleaning. But ultimately, what we're doing is working with that person's own auric field. They are doing the ultimate healing themselves. We're providing the energy for them to get that job done.
Amazing. And when you say the galactic vacuum, Tone, and I'll pass it over to Chris, because just before we went on, Tone said to Chris, "You're in the Orion Wars." And when we went to the video, Chris is like, "How does he know?" And I'm like, "Dude, he knows you." Like, he knows you from these other places and spaces. So what's that all about, Chris? How do we all know? Some of us actually know each other. And who were we in these other lifetimes, perhaps? And we may even call it future lifetimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, even though right here, right now, we're having this human experience and on this show, live streaming, but we are living multi-dimensional lives at the same time. So whether that could be in different dimensions, you know, whether it's dimension 5, dimension 6, it could be Sirian or Orion or Andromedan, those lives are still coexisting within the life that we're having as well. So again, you can have these simple things like a deja vu moment, or even in that fight clip that we just showed where they were sort of transitioning into different scenes. That's pretty much the same as your life. It's just a series of scenes. So those scenes can pop in from different dimensions at different times. They can be through messaging, through connectivity, through downloading, through imagery, thoughts. It comes through all different types of mechanisms, because remember, we're just an energetic field, so we're like a conductor. So we are connected to the source. So you can think of electricity, it's the similar type of scenario. So you're getting all these downloads all the time, but it's always about you. It's your existence all the time. And a lot of the messaging that we're getting here is also about a number of things. A, it's to help you. B, wake you up. And C, do something about it. Because at the end of the day, we can just sit on the couch with our box of Tim Tams and, you know, ring around the rosy all day. If you want to, knock yourself out, have a great time. But that's getting you nowhere. At the end of the day, at some time, you've got to get connected. You've got to understand what your purpose is here. And that's what all these multi-dimensional aspects of you are all about.
Yeah, and Wendy, you know, talking about the past lives, and we can talk about these galactic selves as our future timelines, perhaps. But, you know, as Chris says, it's all multidimensional. It's actually all existing in the now moment. And so we're slipping in and out of avatar beings, basically, when we're going into dream state. It may have been a third dimensional lifetime that we're remembering, as Wendy was referring to. But equally, too, it can be the consciousness having an experience in some other form. And it may be a hybrid form that many people here, you know, only looking out and to the world with their two eyes that look out there and not engaging the third eye, we're going to say that's woo-woo, that doesn't exist. But for anyone who's got an activated third eye, these things are actually very, very real. And so you may have energies come through you where you feel like, okay, I'm starting to move like a cat. I'm starting to have my psychic powers switch on. What is that lion energy, perhaps, or lion energy that's coming through me at this time? And these higher dimensional aspects can be very useful when it comes to the topic we want to really unpack today, which is around this great meme that I saw. I think it kind of says it all. I've
seen that one. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
CIA, they know all about it.
Yeah.
You know, also in relation to what Chris was saying, beyond this slow vibrational construct, all time is existing right now. It's fluid. Beyond the 3D slower vibration, past, present, and future are all happening right now in the eternal now. And he kind of alluded to that. Also, parallel lives to this one as oversouls. That's another thing that happens, is happening more frequently in terms of people are experiencing something very similar to this particular experience you're having, just with a slight tweak, that can be parallel selves that are also existing very close to this construct, very close to this timeline simultaneously. Consciousness it's absolutely mind-blowing the deeper you get into it. And some of the things that I've experienced and I've actually had this downloaded to me by an ET one time. I was looking at a ship of the sky, and I was saying I wanted to get to know that being a little bit better. And this ET, I'm not even sure what species it was, but it said to me, as consciousness, you have been and will be every being that has ever existed in time.
Wow.
And like it took me days of reflecting on that. But what it was saying is, yes, in this avatar, this experience, I appear as a focalized point of consciousness, but I'm also expanded consciousness, which has all of the experiences within it. And as such, we can actually shift into the perspective of another person. And this is another way that we do the clearings and the healings, is when I'm going to like jump to a person and do energy work on them, I literally picture myself in the same energy frequency as them. And it's almost like we are one field of consciousness. And so it does time and distance. None of that matters when you're tapping into that expanded state of consciousness, because like the being said, you have been and will be all beings from that point of pure consciousness.
Well, when you consider that what is the God Goddess force, it's omnipresent, it's omnipotent, it's omnidimensional. And that's one of the words I get from you, Tone. And
Yeah.
So of course we're having all of the experiences in all timelines and all dimensions. And as you said, it's a point of attention that we're just currently viewing reality through, which of course means that we're embracing those darker aspects. And Wendy, you call it, and I believe you and Tone and maybe Rion, your great friend, call it the light and the night side. So I'd love you to talk a little bit more about that, Wendy, to explain what that actually means, so that we're not having a judgment around one being better or worse.
Oh, absolutely. Like, we are all inclusive and we are light and dark. The key is to try to find the balance between the two. There are going to be times when you're going to have to use energy or power from your night side, and it's all you. And like many times you hear people talk about their different aspects and everything. The goal is to obtain all of your aspects within this physical vessel and to be in balance within your light and night. It's not like we're going to diminish the night. We need that. We need that to survive here. And so many people are like, it's only love and light. Well, that is true for light workers. But like when you're doing the light warrior thing, and there is a difference between the two. The light warriors are here to shift the energy. We're not here to just literally hold the frequency. And that's an amazing, important task. But the light warriors take it a step forward. We actually shift what's being done here. And we do battle. And it's not just battling ourselves within like the astral. It's like about literally claiming all of your aspects within this vessel, having access to all of your memories. And in addition to that, changing what needs to be changed here. And that will, for the warriors, require battling. I don't know how many times I wake up with bruises on my legs from doing those martial art kicks, like in your video. Like I'm covered in them
bruises right now
from last night. So I mean, like we're kicking butt in the astral. We're changing things, and we're going to do it here as well. It's a matter of getting all your aspects within this physical vessel, remembering how all of your gifts and abilities work, and then joining forces with the other light warriors.
Yeah, Chris, I know you want to say something about that.
To reiterate what Wendy was saying, because you're one of the very few people that I've heard say that, and I completely concur and agree with you, because Carrie and I work a lot in the astral as well. But since 2020, when I've really upped my game of spending an enormous time in the astral, I've got a little bit of a battle warrior side to me, and I've now got lots of scars on my arms and legs that are from wounds and inflictions that I've never had before. And I'm not making this shit up. I can tell you there's stuff on my body now where I wake up in the morning and I go, where the hell did that come from? Then I remember what had actually happened in the astral. So this shit is real. This is basically what I'm trying to say. It is not a game. It is not made up fantasy world that we are living in. When you are connected to your dimensional self, as Tone was eloquently saying before, that is in real time. That is happening. And that is why we come back sometimes a little battered and bruised, sometimes emotionally, because we're in this third dimension, we can find ourselves being pulled apart emotionally. Like, it can affect us very deeply. And it's not necessarily something that's happened in the workplace or with your family or something that's happened in this realm. It could be from another realm. So I guess, cut the story short, what I'm trying to say is Wendy is right spot on the mark.
Yeah, all the timelines always crossing into nexus points, which is, as Tone referred to before, it's that point of attention that we're having with the consciousness at this particular time. But it is streaming, and it's really, for me, being a psychic, and you may be like this as well, Wendy, I feel like I can just kind of tune into a radio station. So if I want to tune into another timeline or another avatar self, or I can tune into other people's consciousness as well, with permission, if I'm doing a reading as such for them. So Wendy, how does that work for you? Because I know you said to me you see 10 screens in front of yourself sometimes.
Oh, it's ever since being hit by lightning, it's been really trippy for sure. It's like one of the things that I loved previously was that I had an on and off switch, but you get hit by lightning and there's no off switch. It's like nonstop, 24/7. I don't rest, and sometimes I even talk in my sleep. I can't even have conversations. Yeah. That way, I don't turn off. I'm always spot on and there and all over the place. But one of the things that for me that's a little different is back in 2006, I was in a really, really bad car accident, and I had to have surgery done on my spine and my neck, and I was in severe pain, and of course they gave me all these, Vicodin and all these, drugs and stuff, and I didn't want to take any of that. So I'm like, I just need to get out of my body for a while, and without even realizing I could do it, I literally stepped into trading with my aspect in another dimension currently. And it was the wildest thing, because I was asleep for like several hours, but there it's like I instantaneously stepped into that body of mine there. And what was just wild was that her name was Kristen, and I'm going from being in my bed here at home, and all of a sudden I'm in a bathroom looking in the mirror, and I'm a lot shorter. I'm like, instead of being 5'7", which I am here, there I was like 5'2". I'm like, I can't even see the mirror. I'm like jumping up. What's going on? Then I realized, oh my gosh, I can jump. There's no pain. And I'm looking around. I'm like, it feels good. I don't know what's going on. Like, I still didn't even understand back then what I did. And I opened the bathroom door at this time I was married here. I opened the door, and there's this guy coming over there. Happy birthday, sweetheart, kissing me. And I'm like, looking like shocked. Come to find out, my husband's name there was Tom. And I'm taking 2 steps going down the stairs, and everybody's screaming happy birthday. It was a birthday party. And so like I literally spent my birthday there for that aspect of myself in that dimension. And then I was like, shit, how do I get home? I had to try to figure that part out, because I didn't even know that I could do that at that time. So for me, it's definitely different.
And you've had quite a few supernatural experiences, because I believe you've been hit by lightning twice, and now this story as well that I'm hearing. Yeah, so you're really just crossing over into other dimensions through these portals that open up for you in these extreme conditions.
And thank God for Tone, because he is the only one that can ground my ass. I sure can't. Nobody else has been able to. It takes an amazing power horse like him to be able to stop me, and he can. He can keep me. So it's great.
Tone sounds like Tom, so she's not really too timing you there, Tone. Like, married to Tom, now with Tone.
I can't blame what her oversoul does. That's part of life.
I just absolutely love it. So, Tone, we're really going to have to break this down, because I know there's many people here. I'm not sure if we've been thrown off Facebook, guys, because suddenly the comments have stopped coming in. So if you can see us, let me know. I wouldn't be surprised if we got thrown off, but hey, we're going to keep
not
going.
surprise me at all.
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube if not, and we'll upload it again. So, but you know, I know for some people, at least that started commenting, they'd be very hip about how the astral can work in terms of AI, you know, featuring in those realms. I do want to say that many people report that, oh, it's dangerous to go into the astral. Well, you're in the astral anyway, guys, when you're sleeping and when you're dreaming. So I do feel we're at a time that we need to become conscious of what's happening. A lot of people are now switching out of dream state to lucid dreaming. And I feel we need to go that one step further and actually command our space in the astral and start to go on conscious missions. And it can just seem as natural as doing an imaginative journey, and that can be the start of it. But the reason why I say that is because if there is AI in the astral, what are we up against, Tone? What's this about?
Well, I mean, what we see happening here in 3D is a bleed through from the astral. So the astral realm is becoming more and more transparent of the AI influence within it, as we also are expanding our perceptions, not just here in 3D, but in the astral. And further to what you were saying there is that command before you go to sleep is so, so important right now to have full awareness, because what's happening, just as it does here, they set up scenarios to put you into an emotional state like they do here in 3D as a feeding mechanism. And they do the same thing in the astral. Usually AI simulations ran through. You think of it as like you're a SimCity character, your astral body is in that part of the game. They will set up scenarios almost as a hijack to get you in a situation in the astral where all of a sudden you're upset, you're having a nightmare, and you get in that lower fear, terror based state, and they have like a Slurpee straw slurping your energy off at that point. So the awareness before you go to sleep is so crucial. I always say to my higher consciousness, guide me, protect me throughout the night. Anything that does not serve me, anything that is trying to influence me, get it out of my field. In dream time, astral, waking consciousness, I need to have full control of my uplink to my higher consciousness and not be being influenced by artificial stuff.
Yeah. Why do they want our energy, Tone? You know, if someone is new to this kind of information, who are they and what are they doing with our life force?
If we go into like the most basic age proven thing, we talk about Gnosticism, the archons, the non-human forces. The main answer to your question is they are non-ensouled. They cut themselves off from the umbilical cord of source by thinking they could make a superior reality to source itself. So in doing so, they cut themselves off from that umbilical of energy. And so we inserted into this game, we have not. And so since they don't have that source energy, they need ours in order to survive and carry on. Otherwise, they're going to wither away to nothing, which they're going to anyways. But that's the hijack of this realm, is they have literally hijacked consciousness, put it in a myopic state where you're not aware. And part of that goes back to the mind wipe amnesia that I was talking about. They've locked consciousness in a very myopic state where it doesn't realize, wait a minute, I'm dreaming even in this realm. We say, okay, yeah, I woke up. To an extent, that's true. But if you woke up all the way, you become a danger to the system because you see straight through it all. And it goes into the astral as well because they program there. And a lot of that goes into the subconscious mind. And then you carry it into your quote unquote waking hours throughout the day. So it's really important to take command of that and say, okay, highest light, highest consciousness aspects of myself, guide me, protect me throughout the night. Anything that is influencing me in a negative way or getting in the way of my evolution, get that out of my energy field. Do not let that happen during sleep time.
Wow, powerful. So we call him Draco Dan here. He was the premier of Victoria through the COVID years, and he had getting out in front of the narrative. He's just disclosed that yes, they have been using technology which can indeed read our energy and our thoughts. Now, many people have been saying this for a while because it does seem that we can have a thought about something, and the way the algorithms work, within our devices, that an ad will pop up. And so it makes sense to me that, of course, they've got the technology to be able to feature in that more energetic 4D or, astral realm. So, yeah, I find it very, very curious what's happening there. Chris, what's your kind of, for you that spends a lot of time in the astral, what are you encountering in those spaces?
I can completely agree with what everyone is saying, that I guess the word I like to use is, we're being loosed off. So the amount of energy that is running through our portal or our vessel is extraordinary. I mean, it's one of the many talents and gifts that we've been given to come to a third dimension is, as again, we're a point of attention. We're kind of like a PowerPoint. So we've got all this energy running through us. So the nefarious ones that are out there, let's just say that, absolutely, it's like a moth to a flame. They're so attracted to this energy transmuting out of us that they're trying to understand it. The stupid part is they're trying to control it. And then the third part is they're trying to extract it so that they can utilize the technology for themselves. Because in no disrespect, they're as dumb as freaking dog shit when it comes to understanding energy. So there's two parts to this, is that when you're born with energy, it is part of your vessel. It is your DNA. It is completely innate within you. It's not something that you can go and program, which is what AI is all about. So they're looking at programming this into some software scenario where they can hit it on and hit it off. It's like, press go, let's press delete. A little bit like their minds, which is pretty much what they're trying to emulate here. The other thing about it is it's really the easiest way to understand what they're trying to extract from you is when you go into other dimensions, it's kind of like looking at a big mirror. So, but it's like a magnetic mirror. So what they're doing is they're reflecting down on you, but trying to extract it back out to try and understand the constructs that are here. It's just that the third dimension is a very, very complex construction. And now that we've got a lot of light waves happening here at the moment as well, we've had the sort of the first wave and the second wave and the third wave of light workers come in. Now everything's gotten really real. So there's more energy here than you can poke a stick at. So it's not just the human energy they're having to deal with. It's the multidimensional energy that's here as well, which is causing mass confusion. And that is why you're seeing across the globe more and more lunacy when it comes to the programs that they're trying to roll out. Like we look at all this crap of the 2020 with the whole COVID bullshit. Then you've got all the other stuff with the in the sky with regards to dropping all the chemicals through there. Then they're getting into your water, getting into your food. It's just getting more and more ridiculous. But they've got to keep inventing these programs because they can't keep up with the energy that's actually here, or they can't keep siphoning. So this is the reason why we're in a great battle right now, and it's getting towards its precipice point, is that the light workers have brought so much energy here to thwart what is trying to be extracted out of the human race. And so therefore it's not a galactic battle that we're probably used to in our past lives, like the Orion Wars or the Lyran Wars. This one on this planet is an energetic battle. And that's why it has gotten to the point where it's at the precipice, which is like two lightning bolts coming together, and it's about to explode.
Yeah, I really see them as the light workers or the star seeds, light warriors, however we want to term that, keep popping up, and they try to push one down, another one pops up over here, and they try to push that, and they just keep popping up. And so they're everywhere, really like nodal points now on the Earth grid. And they're infuriated with us. They have no real control. And it would seem externally for the people that perhaps do invest their time and attention in the mainstream media that they're in command of this realm. That's absolutely not true. That's absolutely not true. I do feel that the starseeds are the ones that are leading the way, as well as our Indigenous. We did a show a couple of weeks ago, and I live with Vanuatu people part of the time, and they see beyond this veil, that's for sure. And we've all got that ability to heighten our or reactivate, I guess, our DNA strands again. So we're not just seeing this third dimensional construct. And then, Tone, before we went on live, you were saying we're wanting to even see outside of that astral and fourth dimensional construct. So Wendy, though, would you like to talk a little bit more about that? Who are we in those higher planes, and how can those aspects help us in these lower dimensions?
Well, and actually, Tone made a good point earlier. One of the things that I've always said on many, many radio shows is I hate labels, because we are all encompassing. We have in everything. So, I have aspects of myself that are seraphim, galactic, and we've been everything. So when someone says, "Oh, I'm just a light goddess," no, you've been everything. And people say, "Oh, well, I've never been, this particular entity." Yes, you have. You have been everything. And so it's like when we're looking down at other things, just like with us here, there's good and bad in all of us. And so it doesn't matter to say a specific, title or something is worse than the other. It's all about what you do with your energy and your actions. That's the most important thing for it. I really think that when I'm trying to think how to word it, for instance, help me out. You're doing good.
Well, what's our role then? If we've been all of it, which I absolutely love, by the way, then what is evolution for us? What are we heading towards? Is it as simple as we're just wanting to integrate more love into our consciousness fields?
No, not at all. Because if we were, we wouldn't come here. Because when we're in the metaphysical, that's all we are. We're pure energy. We're pure love. It's when we come in the physical vessel and we come here and we're exposed to so many different things that if we are exposed to violence and anger and all these awful things that come through with us here. So if it was just love, we wouldn't be here. We would stay. What we did is we answered a call. The Galactic Federation put out a call to all the planets and literally said, Earth needs your assistance. Basically, we've always called this place the prison planet. None of us really, necessarily wanted to ever come here. But what we did is we answered the call. And so from basically all different planets, the best of the best. So if you're here during this time, congratulations, you are considered the best of the best. And you're here for a purpose. And no one is inferior or superior to you. You're each unique and you're each here because you are the best, period. What we're meant to do, and what we did do back then, is we literally answered the call. We all met on this galactic space, I don't know what you want to call it, station. And there were 3 ships that were coming down. The first ship was going to have a large group of leaders. The second ship was going to be healers. The third ship was going to be light warriors. And what actually happened is that first ship with the leaders, they're supposed to come down, get things set up financially. They're supposed to start businesses, get things monetarily going so that we would be able to get what we needed. And when they were en route, they actually literally got into a firefight, and the whole ship, we got notification, was completely destroyed. It was all gone. So we had to have someone who was captain of a third ship, that would be Tone, who literally time jumped and went back and saved that first ship. Now, when that happened, their memories were gone because they literally went from traveling here to being blown up and brought right back. When you do all that in such a short amount of time, you're bound to have memory lapses. So they all came in here without that knowledge of, hey, what they're here to do. And then because he was the captain of the third ship, that ship, all of the people that were supposed to come on that one ended up having to come on the second ship. Altogether, there was 144,000 of us. And what we were meant to do was come down and have the first group, the leaders, shake things up, start businesses, get the financial things going for everybody. second people on the second ship was healers. That's the one that I was captaining. And I was not here to come and like make money, because the first ship was supposed to do that, but they didn't remember, didn't do what they were supposed to do. And then like I said, the third ship was going to come in. And on that third ship, because they had to come early on the second timeline, many of them didn't get in the right bodies. Some of the masculine had to be in a feminine body. And so some of them are not exactly, feeling comfortable with the vessel that they're in. And that accounts for why a lot of people are having a lot of issues or questions with the bodies that they're in. And energetically, but we're not these bodies anyway. So no one likes certain things about your own body. Well, that's because it's not you. It's just like the car. Like I'm driving a Camaro these days, and I'm not a Camaro. I'm the energy inside the Camaro. Like that, this vessel, I'm not this vessel.
You're the navigator.
I am. All right, now you're up for talking.
Yeah. I had a grey turn up. I was awake. I often get woken up at galactic hour and do some kind of conscious astral process, a bit of timeline jumping, bit of timeline reversals, tweaking some things, and checking things out. Depends who's there and what's going on. But this grey turned up, and it was clear as day to me. And I said, nah, not interested. He said, just wait. And he projected a really kind energy to me, and I thought, gonna ask some questions here. And he said he was a Martian grey, and I said, okay then. But he gave me some very useful information. He did want to sort of study me or get some data, and I said absolutely not. I said, but I'm happy to have a conversation because I'm curious. I said this can be a two-way street. Let's find out some information from each other. And first of all, he was a very funny guy, which I appreciated. But he did explain that the reason that they have evolved to having such little bodies and no genitalia, but big heads, is that they've shut down the heart frequency, really because they didn't want to feel. They didn't want to have all the hardships here. They didn't want to feel, they wanted to develop the mental faculties. And it's a very narcissistic timeline. And of course, we're seeing that crossover in this realm, because narcissism, as Chris says, is the real pandemic here, the siphoning of each other to elevate self. But he was aware that they were in trouble, and he was working as more of a scientist, wanting to work out how they could move back in time, so to speak, and pick up the heart energy again so that they could move into that ascension life wave. So I was very curious about what he was telling me. But just on from what you were saying, Wendy, about the body, he said one of the main fractures in the consciousness of many humans is the obsession with our physical body, because we keep looping around our consciousness in, what's the next diet I should be on, or how can I lose weight, or the fitness industry and get your butt out on Instagram. He said the fracture in our consciousness is so big that we're just not getting it, that this vessel really is kind of like our own spaceship. It's got all these commands, all these buttons that if we knew how to work it, we could then be out again flying intergalactically. But we're obsessing and dialing our consciousness down. So it's very interesting that you say that. What
a lot of the sages actually say is the highest practice is to say, I am not the body. What am I? And so if you start going past, okay, what am I beyond my body? Your consciousness, pure consciousness. And so that's the ultimate prize. Back to the origin point of this whole video is the reclamation of the soul, is the reclamation of your consciousness, of your pure consciousness. The higher that you can adapt that even into this reality, the less problems you're going to have about a body, because the body's transitory. They come and go millions of times, but you as consciousness are forever.
I mean, what a relief that is for people that are just, and it's en masse, this obsession. It's one of the biggest industries in the world, the diet and fitness industry. And I've got nothing against fitness, by the way. It's, look after your vessel for sure. Be healthy.
Yeah.
put the right things in, and the body will work very well for you. And you know, I find it really interesting from what Wendy and Chris were saying, that if you're getting bruises in the astral, then maybe you need a really good vehicle in the astral as well. Doing those kicks, Wendy.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny because like I'm literally called to like rescue different people is what it is. Like there's many times that we'll meet up and have a conversation, and I literally get called away to go help. And like that's literally what I'm doing, is like many times rescuing other light warriors. And I've actually seen you a few times there, girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing some amazing things too.
Yeah, I think we all hang out there quite a lot. I mean, I know since our last show, I just wasn't able to do many shows. I was going through a lot of personal grief, you know, and needing a lot of meditation time, but also needing so much, just kept getting pulled into the astral planes like for hours. I can meditate for hours. It's my preferred place to be. I actually get challenged having to get up and go sometimes in the 3D realm. So I imagine for you guys it's the same, you know, a lot of hours spent meditating.
I had a conversation with Rion the other night. He and I were practicing levitating in 4D, and this is another experience that a lot of people are having. 4D is feeling realer and realer in terms of the experience, where when I was levitating, it felt every bit as real as us sitting here talking. And so what I said to Rion, there's an aspect of us that I know can levitate. I know we are doing that. And so that's another thing that a lot of people are starting to experience, is almost a sense of which realm is more real. This is a dream world that we're in right now. So what's to say that when you're fully present in the astral, that's not every bit as real, if not more real, than this world, this reality?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
And it's funny about the fourth dimension as well, is usually when we're starting our astral journeys, I'll take the group to the fourth dimension, and I, in inverted brackets, like to call it the safe zone. It's kind of like we can go here, reset, do our mission, and off we go. I have a lot of respect for the fourth dimension, because to me it's a place where, when you're looking at the dimensions, particularly here in the Milky Way, and this might get a little bit galactic, but you know, we have a 9-dimension system here because there is our 9 planets. And when you filter out all the way from the sun right through to Pluto, each of those dimensions is extraordinarily energetically different. And we have been to every single one of them, believe it or not. So to me, the fourth dimension is a really beautiful place. To me, it's a place where we can regather. It's a bit like an Eden type scenario, where we can practice these things like levitating, and we can do them in the sanctuary of that fourth dimension without feeling like we're going to be attacked, persecuted, judged, like everything that happens down here. But at the end of the day, we pick up those skill sets and we bring them back, and we try to implement them as best we can here. I mean, we're dropping as many seeds as we can here, people. At the end of the day, it's whether you want to water these seeds and start to grow yourself. I mean, we're all learning as well. You know, we don't hold all the answers or all the magic keys. We're all in it together. So
that's right. It doesn't matter. I mean, even if you've had to kind of stuff your big consciousness down into this vessel, you know, you may have transcended into you may have gone into galactic. You may have more of an Andromedan kind of frequency, but you've heard the call, as Wendy had spoken about, and so you've dialed the frequency down, so to speak, to have this physical experience, but you're still on your own personal mission to upgrade consciousness, or maybe to expand consciousness, maybe a better way to say it, until you're becoming that omnipotent self, that goddess self that is able to be in a space of non-judgment. In polarity realms, 3D, 4D, we do have it in our language, right, wrong, good, and bad. We will come to a place in our consciousness that it just is. But that sometimes can be too esoteric or too, it's too out there almost, because we are meant to, whilst we're having a physical experience, not only sit in isness. If we need to cry, if we need to grieve, if we need to experience sorrow, that is part of the journey. And we're uploading, I see us uploading all the time into the God Goddess self that wants to know what's it like having this physical experience.
And that's one of the things that actually makes the human being unique, as opposed to what that gray was sharing with you. They forewent the heart in favor of intellectualism. The human being is meant to be a super feeling being. We are meant to feel things to a whole other capacity. That's one of the things that makes us so fascinating to all the other ET species, is our capacity to feel. We feel much deeper than the average ET that's going around in space. A lot of them are highly mental beings. We're some of the deepest feeling beings in this multiverse. And that's one of the things that makes them so fascinated with us, because the power of our heart is where all of our creational power comes from. It's like literally like that's where source is located. And so it's such an important distinction of what you just said there. To feel these things to a degree, I seek out the moments that bring me awe, that bring me to tears. The sunsets, the trees, the sound of the water, the feel of the water on my skin, all of that, everything has a spirit. How do you connect to that at the deepest level? Right here in the heart, a heart.
Yeah, and you both spend a lot of time in nature as well, getting those heightened frequencies and, stabilizing your own consciousness as well, having to deal with, well, I guess, the work that you do, so much energetic clearings for people. So you want to go and have your time just to reset. But for all of us just living in this kind of toxic soup of AI here, 3D, 4D, Wendy, what's 5D? Are we going there? Is that why we came as the 144,000? I say we as if I was there, but hey, I'm claiming it.
You're definitely part of that.
Yeah.
Are we upgrading this realm, this planetary system to 5D? Is everyone coming? What's going on, would you say? I love your storytelling.
Well, and the interesting thing is, like, we have this perception of there's just, so many dimensions here, but like that's just pertaining to like this particular planet. We're not from here. When I go to the astral, many times I'm in 248D. That's one of my favorite places to be without a physical vessel at all, being pure energy and just being. That's my favorite place. So like, and all of us, the only limitations that we have are the ones that we're placing upon ourselves. So because somebody told you that it's based on a certain number of planets and these are the dimensions, that doesn't mean that that's the way it is. That's the way it is for them. Like I always say, take what everybody says, listen to everybody, and then run it through the filter of your intuition and see what is it, how does that feel to you? There's so many more dimensions, so many more, places out there. And like I said, you just have to know that you are limitless. You truly are.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I mean, it's so expansive just even hearing that, because there are so many narratives around, I guess, and the way the 3D mind works, it's sequential. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, now 5. But what you're saying is it be anywhere at any time in that limitless space. It's really our choice. And the way that you've been able to have the experiences while still remaining in the body, you didn't fully cross over into spirit. You remained in the body, but went into these different timelines. It's so powerful, to listen to someone like you that's had these direct experiences there's not many people on earth right now that can speak to these things, I wouldn't say, in such a way.
And like and then bringing it back to like the feeling here that Tone was talking about in this human body, that when we're in the metaphysical, it's very much like a hologram as opposed to being here. And so the way that it is that you see everything. So it's like, for example, like if you were to just watch a YouTube on, I've always said this example, skydiving. If you're going to watch a YouTube on skydiving, it's not the same as actually skydiving. Here, you're going to feel the plane lift off. You're going to feel the pull of gravity as you're jumping out. You're going to feel the wind whipping at you. You're going to have every single moment. There's going to be feelings and stuff. And when you're there, you're seeing it. You don't actually feel that. And that's kind of like the difference is it's just like viewing it more. And so we do like to have these experiences here in the physical. It's one place that we get to use all the senses.
It's a fully interactive immersion into this simulation. So it's like all 5 senses. The decoding process is felt to the core, and the soul is able to download that through these avatars that we're here in. And in the higher realms, there's less of that feeling of stuff on your skin. And, the feeling of emotions is not as intense as down here. We're at such a slow vibration, want, that everything is felt. Up there, it's, and it's not as physical as this here.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the attraction of why the call came out. I mean, when Gaia reverberated through the universe, I mean, this little blue-green planet is nothing shorter than just nature. It's pure nature. So at the end of the day, when we transitioned into coming here, we literally are an extension of nature here. Nature is our medicine. Nature is our breath. Nature is our wisdom teacher. Everything that we connect to with our nature, whether it's in the forests or using its dirt and its water. So the reason we sort of are literally feeling like matter here, like we're connected gravity-wise, like we feel like our feet are stuck on the planet, is because that's exactly what it is. In order to coexist here with nature, we need to put our roots down. We need to be able to walk out in the sunshine and dive into the oceans. We've got to connect to it. Why is there vitamin D out of the sun? Why is the salt into the skin of your body so exhilarating when you're trying to have a swim in the ocean? So that everything's connectivity here. So we have to adapt in order to be on this realm. So hence the reason is why sometimes we're searching to go to our other realms, is because for a lot of us, that's home. And every now and then you want to connect back home, because it's that same longingness. Like, we've been able to adapt to be here, and we've done extraordinarily well. But at the end of the day, it's not a program, is what we're trying to say. This is when you're here, it's real and you can feel it. What the main battle here at the moment is, which is part of the title of what this is about, is they're trying to take that natural element away from you and create a program. So they'd rather have you sitting in your lounge room watching a sunrise on the TV, thinking you're getting the same feeling. Well, here's the freaking message. That is bullshit. At the end of the day, you have to go outside and feel Ra. Ra is an energy portal that is your life force. It's not a program on the black box.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, these programs also, because it's AI, it's literally deletable. So you can't delete the sun, you can't delete the ocean, you can't delete the magnificence of everything that's being created here by our creatrix from the source, or your God, however you want to express it. That is not a program. That is real life force running through you. So there's a difference between being trapped to these programs that are being put in front of you and living your life through those programs. That's an artificial existence, or you're trying to be someone else, and it's like fashion or sports or whatever the case may be. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I'm into them all myself, but they are not you. You've got to come here to find your identity.
Well, just on from what you were saying, Wendy, that we can watch skydiving and we can have the same things, I guess, in our body as if we were there ourselves. So do we want to be, I guess, having that artificial experience, or do we actually want to go and have the experience? And this is where I guess for many people, their third eye's been hijacked because of TV and other ways, all the devices now that we're constantly attached to, and that's fine too. But it's that knowing of the difference and knowing that we can have these experiences within self. We don't need the devices. And I do feel we'll ultimately get to a point, and I know you write about this a lot, Tone, that telepathy will actually take over even the messaging systems, because for me the technology is just mimicking what our innate cosmic technology is. It's just that we're not using our own innate cosmic technology. We somehow have lost trust that we're that powerful. And so we let these kind of ways that supplement who we truly are, invade our lives. But of course that gets rigged up to, who's controlling that? Who's feeding us that information? That TV?
It's very deliberate. That's the way they've set the world up. And for that reason alone, tech is a cheap knockoff of our own inherent abilities. Yeah, what is the cell phone? It's literally sending a message across distance. Telepathy can do the same thing far more efficiently. But they've shut down up to this point. They shut down the DNA that was responsible for that kind of stuff. As you know, the Aborigines, they haven't shut it down in them. They have a different chromosomal line than the rest of the humans. They can communicate mind to mind over any distance. We have that ability as well. That's the other reason why they're trying to block out the sun, is the sun is actually starting to unlock those codes again. They absolutely know that. So that's one of the things that they're so desperate to do, is to shut down that awakening DNA, because with that comes the telepathic, telepathic abilities, the clairvoyance, everything, all the psychic ESP, your intuition is like on steroids. Once the DNA kicks back online, you can't be deceived. You can see right through everything. And back to what Chris was saying, nature. What is the reason we feel so good in nature, in this place? If we go by the premise that this is a simulation or hologram, nature would be the highest concentration of spirit within that hologram. So your spirit is literally immersing in a larger spirit and being bathed by it every time you connect to nature. So it's no accident that we feel so blissful in that presence of nature.
Beautiful. I love the fact that the four of us, we really understand each other's language, and we may see things slightly differently, and we may even have different terminology, but we really do come from a similar space, I guess. But I know that for other people listening, these can be very out there concepts, because we have to consider that there's the draw from the mass population that will say that doesn't make sense. This is not real. And yet what we're talking about is more real than some of these Groundhog Day loops that people are caught in. Literally, I love the movie Tron because it depicts, I feel, the inversion of Metatron. Metatron set up this great flower of life for us to have all of these experiences whilst embodied. He gets a bad rap sometimes, but I feel it's Tron, his inverted self, that is causing it's like a Tron grid going around on the same loop. It could even be said that those people are actually two-dimensional. They're just going around in a grid system. I believe they build our smart cities to mimic that, going around in those grid systems, having the same consciousness experiences over and over again. And for many people, they are conditioned to believe that that's safe, that is safe, but it is not safe for the soul. The soul is withering and dying, and we'll have to keep coming back again and again and again to the same frequency field until it breaks out of its. I mean, you said it before, Tone, about the prison planet, or maybe it was you, Wendy. Fascinating. So some people have come over to YouTube. We're only streaming on YouTube, I can see. They threw us off Facebook pretty much immediately. So, and we had it's about 150 people that said they were coming. So
Zuckerberg was like, shut it down.
Yeah.
Too many home truths, Zucker.
Yeah.
It's funny because YouTube's been worse for me. I've been censored. I mean, I get censored everywhere, but YouTube have been retroactively just taking videos off and of mine, from years ago. That's like, come on. It's like we do have to turn up, put some effort into these things. But anywho, hello, beautiful Kathy. Actually, Kathy, I know from Facebook, so I'm glad you're over here on YouTube. But this is a great question. Have any of you visited higher heaven, not just the astral? And, we'll go back to what Wendy was talking about, where she goes very high dimensional. So I'll let you answer that one, Wendy.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, in addition to being hit by lightning, like literally at last count, like I've actually had, it was 29 clinical deaths, not NDE, like, oh, almost dead, like dead, 28 minutes, 18 minutes, 36 minutes, like actual pronounced dead. So I've had many, many times of going to, and it's all the same. Like everybody's always like, well, you're over there or up there. Like it's all one. And that was one of the things that I had a really aha moment back in, I think, 2012, was with one of the deaths that I had that year, was saying, hey, you can come back. Your brothers and sisters could use your help, or you can stay here, whatever you prefer to do. And I said, I'm okay either way, because I know it's all the same. And so like literally, like it is all one. And it's just like the only differences are what we make of it. Like we're the ones that are controlling so many things that affect us. We're controlling the limitations that we believe we have. We're controlling what we believe the astral to be like. But definitely one of the things that I did experience with that particular death was literally almost like I was gliding like along, and all these people were coming towards me. Each time I would look at each person, I would know, wow, that was like my daughter. That was like a husband. I could see, and I knew instantaneously all these people. And I'm telling you, this line kept going and going and going. It's like, oh my. And you remember in that very, very moment, every single thing about them. All that knowledge is there. And it's just like, wow, all that feeling. And it was just, it was amazing, because it all comes back to you in that moment. And then, I'm sorry.
Do you feel the same beings coming back round and round, the same soul tribes?
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, I don't know if I was talking to you about it, but like the other day, it's so rare for us to interact with someone that I don't know, or that he doesn't know. If I don't know you, that's a red flag, because like I've had so many, many, many lives and lifetimes, and being here so many, many places and titles, queens, and well, whatever, what have you. Like I've been everything. And if I come into some contact with someone I don't know, then I'm very, very cautious.
Wendy, I've got a question for you. Do you have a preference of lifetimes or timelines? Do you feel that some are superior to others in your feeling body?
Well, any lifetime that I've had with Tone is my favorite, honestly. We've had so many. We've had so many. Like we've known each other for billions of years, and we always come together at some point in every lifetime. There's only 2 lifetimes that I don't recall without him in it, where he wanted to have a different kind of an experience. So definitely. One of my favorite ones is when I came into this life, I only had 3 memories of 3 lifetimes. In Ireland was the memory that was my favorite when I first came in with those memories.
Yeah, and I guess you would feel a sense of something missing if he's not there in one of your lifetimes. That maybe
he came to me in my dreams since I was 12. I don't know if I told you that. He would visit me, and I didn't know who he was. I was trying to figure out who he was.
It's part of our duality aspect here too, is that away from the subject matter, but a lot of it is about the twin flaming here on the planet too. A lot of the star seeds that come here have also come to find the other side of their flame, and that's part of our duality, which is the spiralex or the helix, which is going back to source. Is that it's done as a twin. And so that doesn't surprise me at all that you've continually popped into your different dimensions, finding that connection piece, or the puzzle that is the replica of Tone. And he may be something different in a different dimension, but it's still the essence of him is the attractability there. That's that connection point that keeps bringing you back to him, and vice versa, Tone to you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also goes into like the 144,000. It's a little bit more of an expanded state of that, but many of us have been sojourning through incalculable dimensions, planets, galaxies, together again and again and again in various roles. And like this meeting down here, when it comes us to a soul-to-soul meeting, there are no coincidences. We do all know each other. We have known each other before, and us talking right here, There's zero coincidence behind that.
Mm. So as we start to wrap up, I've got some questions coming.
Yeah.
I need to find out before I let you two go. But I want to tell another comical story, which is about this great being who showed up for Chris and I. We call him Jasquire. Showed up for Chris and I in the astral. He's a Lyran admiral, and he looked exactly like this, Tone and Wendy. We saw him as clear as day. And the thing is, when Chris and I are doing missions together, it's just uncanny what we both hear and say at the same time, because we'll speak out loud to each other as we're going through, and you can't make it up. We should record more of it. We've done some recordings, but it's always funny. Like, there's just some funny things that go on for us, even if we're doing sort of more light warrior type missions. But this fine fellow, rocked up and told us his name was Jasquire. Within days, we were led to a store where we saw this statue, and Chris and I were like, what is going on? Like, this statue looked exactly like this being that we saw in the astral. We just started laughing. We're like, how does the actual, I call it false matrix, true matrix. How does the true matrix work, where whoever it is, whatever it is, our own consciousness in other dimensions can bleed through and break through into this 3D realm and set things up like this, so that you will, in fact, find the statue that looked exactly like the being that you were interacting with in the astral. And Jasquire came through for me the other night, and it started off as a dream and it switched to lucid dreaming. But in the dream, he was yanking my upper arm so hard that it was hurting me, and I'm like, get off, what are you doing? And he said, look behind you. And I looked behind, and there were all the Agent Smiths were coming our way, like flat out. I'm like, all right, I went into motor, and we jumped in a van, and he was just driving so fast, like so erratically and so fast. And I'm like, where are we going? And I was starting to wake up at this point, and because I can consciously astral travel, I'm like, all right, we'll just keep going on this particular journey. And it was the first time. It was very similar to what you were saying before, Wendy, and I haven't had this happen before. We literally crossed timelines or crossed dimensions, and we're back in our bedroom, and I was back in bed, and I was like, I don't know what just happened there. Like, the things are starting to change. But the reason I want to bring up, not that it's just a great story, but hand it over to you, Tone, because I'm very curious, and I think I've asked you this in the last show because I'm still trying to decode it myself. Because Jasquire was saying that we can delete these, and Chris refers to as well, they're all programs, they're AI programs. We can delete these Agent Smiths, and he'd actually taken his sword and cut their heads off, and they had all these wires sticking up. This was sort of whilst I was lucid dreaming. And so I when you say, and you can both answer this, when you say 144,000, are there only 144,000 sentient beings? Are the rest NPCs, non-player characters, AI? Please give it to me, because I need to know from your perspective.
I wouldn't say there's that many, but yes, there is a lot. If you think about this being a simulation, not every being is ensouled. Some are pure matrix simulation characters. They don't have the soul essence that we have. They're literally being propped up by the energy which would come off of us into the AI machinery back to them. So rather than getting their energy from source like we do, they're getting their energy from the system, which they ultimately take from us to keep propped up. So I would say that there's probably, from what I've come across, at least probably 40-50% are matrix pure characters. They don't have the soul essence in them, or a fractal of soul material, where you could just tell they're not the deep feeler. And, one of the things you could tell from a person that's fully ensouled is generally they're very hooked into nature. They're very hooked into creativity. Creativity is an aspect of the soul. So if any person that doesn't have a soul, they will not be creative whatsoever. Even the constructors of this realm, what have they done in order how to create this realm? They've hijacked our consciousness to dream this realm into being for them, because they don't have that capacity to create the way we do. It's our consciousness that was hijacked, that they have steered to have us dream this reality into solidity, or quote unquote solidity, where it looks very real. But to answer your question, one of the telltale signs is a person has no creativity whatsoever, has a lack of empathy. That's the other part of the soul, is you're naturally empathic. You naturally care for other beings. You don't want to hurt anybody else. And beyond that, if you do, you actually feel sorry about it. You have a conscience. The ones that are pure matrix characters, they don't have that empathy. They don't have that creativity. Also, the eyes never lie. The eyes are the windows to the soul. If there's no light coming from them, that's your tip off. There's no soul looking out of those eyes at you.
So do they cease to be at some point? Chris, I can know you want to say something there.
Look, I agree wholeheartedly with that explanation as well, because there's many people that we run into in everyday society, you know, whether it's at work or, you know, God forbid, it's family members as well, where there is that lack of empathy, or there's not that storytelling where the emotions are coming out. They're literally just a walking program, and it's hard to extract information out of them. And it's interesting that, you know, with the whole AI programming that's so prevalent here, even though sometimes it's not necessarily throwing the baby out with the bathwater as well, there is a lot of technology here that is really useful, it's come from other dimensions to try and assist us as well. So, I mean, even today we're using technology to talk to each other. So the communicative aspect at the moment, okay, we can manipulate it to the best of our ability. However, what we've got to try and do is not immerse ourselves as our consciousness becomes technology. There's a big parallel division there, that we are not the program. We still have to find that, like, if you find yourself, say, 11 hours a day being on your mobile or on your laptop, that's you integrating into a program. There's a time to go out and breathe some fresh air or have a swim in the ocean. So that's the part that's feeding your consciousness. So we've got to learn that there is two parts to this whilst we're in this dimension, that yes, we may have to embrace the AI at some point in order to get the programming and the messaging of what's going on this planet. So we've got to kind of come out with our little spy eyes on and try to work out what's going on. But at the same time, the difference is, as Tone was saying, is keep that empathy, keep that feeling, cry if you have to, laugh. I mean, the whole thing literally is a black comedy on the entire planet. So if you can't laugh at it, there's something wrong. Yeah. So, and that tells you that you're still connected to your source, that you have the ability to feel. That 4-letter word, some of the strongest words on this planet are 4 letters. It's feel and love. And if you lose any of those two connections, you're suddenly being sucked into a program, and you better start doing something quickly about it, because that black hole leads to places that it's very difficult to get out of. It's like all these wires being attached onto you, and suddenly it becomes you. So imagine you waking up one day and you didn't have the ability to feel the sunlight on you, or hug your partner, or pat your dog, or, I mean, these are things that we take for granted. This is the emotional aspect of us that walk around this planet. And just imagine one day if you woke up and you had none of those, you were just void. And just think of that. What does the feeling void feel like? It's nothingness. And that's not what we're here for. We're creators, you know, we're super beings. This is literally what we're here to do, is move the matrix around, move the timelines around, send some energy back into this planet so that she can be her rightful regal reign. She is, you know, Gaia is the queen of the universe, and she deserves a rightful place in the alignment of the transitional planetary systems. And that's what we're trying to do, is give her title back through empathy, love, compassion, and connectivity.
Beautiful.
Feeling is your superpower. I keep coming back to this. A lot of people have said, okay, if I get caught in my emotions, am I in lower states? That can happen, but the greatest change that has ever been made comes from what? Passion. Every being that has ever exacted real change across this planet has come from a state of passion, the fire burning within your heart. So to activate that, to operate from that, that is how you change this entire reality the most profoundly.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Sorry, Wendy, I'll let you jump in.
Oh, I was just saying that's beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah. The men are stealing the show, Wendy. I don't know. Come on. Next time, just for you and me.
Well,
Like, come on, guys.
It's funny.
And you give me a few words, but those words are profound.
I'm sure Tone will agree with me that part of the masculine lessons of coming to a realm like this is to regain that ability to feel and have emotion. I mean, masculinity's been put into a program here that you're a rock, you don't feel anything, you're the provider, you're stability. Well, yeah. We're also very emotional human beings that bleed and cry and pour our feelings out. And part of one of the attractions of coming to a realm like this was to go and reconnect with that and explore that part of it. I mean, I'm happy to say, I'm a strong masculine male, but geez, I tell you what, I cry as hard as anyone.
Me too.
And I love the feeling of that emotion running through me. And I laugh, I've got a funny side to me, believe it or not, as well. And that is part of the reason I came here to express that as well. So the masculinity part was not only to come and explore their female counterparts here and to also explore the feminine parts of their self, but we're all here on a journey too, so it's not.
Well, you were saying, Chris, that your previous incarnation, for want of a better word, was that Orion warrior, even though you weren't in the Black League, so to speak. But Chris had memories of his eyes going just ice. He could turn to ice and just precision killing, I suppose, for want of a better word, how that operates in in other dimensions. Because the Orion Wars really, I feel it's depicted very well in Star Wars. We're talking. We're talking battles in ships and these kind of things, and so he would say when his eyes turned to ice, it was on, and you shoot to kill, you get that target, and so for him, learning to have compassion and not even when we're doing astral missions together, I'm often he wants to go charging, and I'm like, well, maybe I've got more Andromedan frequencies. I'm like, well, maybe we need to have a little bit more empathy, but then empathy has also got me in a lot of trouble here in the 3D. Something I've been playing out, which you guys know, in the last couple of years, is getting conned by a truther, so-called truther, because I was so empathic, wanting to support what I thought was going to be a mission for abused children. And so I'm having to learn the warrior side. I'm having to get the sword out and go, how dare you? So I feel like Chris and I, we've almost had to swap codes to balance our own nature. Yeah, it's been fascinating.
Boundaries 101. That's like one of the things that we're all learning is, you can be empathic, but still establish the spiritual boundaries.
Oh, yeah. And Tone, for me, I'm aware that, I could go completely rogue. I could go completely down the other path. And I'm like, okay, sit in the middle, Carrie, sit in the middle,
Yeah.
Night side, light side. Yeah.
That's the complexities of us too, is that, we are made up of light and dark matter. So we often come here and it's all love and light, rainbows and unicorns. Well, yeah, that's nice too. But there is that night side to us as well, which is that protector, the person that will stand up for what they believe in, the ability to have a voice. So coming here, I mean, why do you think half the day is light and half the day is night when you come here? It is an equinox universe, for Christ's sake. It's right in front of you.
Yeah.
And so therefore, there's that part of you is innate within you as well. And I don't mean embracing the dark side, let's all grab our swords and go into battle. It is really just all about understanding that night side or that dark side of you is part of your DNA. It's actually part of your programming here to go, right, I need to find the strength. I need to find the ability to get up each day. And that's that part of you that drives you forward. It's just that it's been given a label. And so far we concentrate too much, a lot on our light side, which is all that the loving and side of it, which is extremely important, but it's only 50% of what makes us tick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's important to sort of just realize that at the end of the day, it is about embracing both aspects, the duality of your
integration.
Yeah.
And really that's when we transcend, this realm anyway. I mean, I love, Wendy, going back to what you were saying right at the beginning of the show, that when people come to you and, maybe want to convince you they're, some princess and Queen of Andromeda, and you're like, well, that's fine and that's great. But hey, there's these other, night sides.
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely. And, and speaking of that too, like one of the things that I just feel so called to share, and just to remind everybody that we're all in this together and we should be building each other up. There's too much tearing each other down. We are better together and we're meant to be invincible as one. And there's so many people that are dealing with so many issues and they're lashing out. If you're being triggered still about something, that's for you to work on and heal. Don't lash it out towards somebody else. Don't take it out on them. We're just seeing way too much of that. And when someone is attacking you, one of the things that Tone always says that I love is they're low-key confessing what they're doing when they're accusing you of things 9 times out of 10. And I love that. That's kick-ass for sure. But like, we're here to support each other and build each other up. And we have the ability to really inspire others. If you can do that, why do that instead of, as opposed to tearing them down? We need to be together. We're a team. Sorry, I had to share that. Sorry.
So beautiful and so needed, Well, I mean, Christian stays away from social media, but I know Tone and I, we get put through it. But hey, we get back in the ring. Come on, let's go again.
This is a battle of endurance and longevity. So, I tell people there's times where I'm on the floor, like just getting my ass handed to me. But if I keep picking myself up off the floor, better days come in the sequences of that. But one of the things that they are trying to do is wear you out here. So it's not important the speed which you're traveling, just that you keep putting one foot in front of the other. Don't give up, because that's what they're banking on. You're at the cusp of a monumental shift in your consciousness. And if you can stay the course, there's going to come a time where you won't believe how gifted you are and what you had forgotten that's going to come to pass. And you will be that super being yet again.
I love it. I love it.
Remember who you are.
Yeah, and a lot of your attackers out there, whether it's social media or in the workplace or even, topical conversations. I mean, we all do have a voice and we are here to, we don't all necessarily have to, be on the same page, but it is about respect of hearing someone out. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, there's a lot of victims in this world too, who are just all about purging outward instead of inward. And at that point, we have to, and I heard a wonderful saying the other day, is that that's part of their shame being externally put out there. And please, can you take it? We have to have the strength to hand the shame back to our persecutors, because that's not for us. And unfortunately, there's, we're trying hard enough each day to keep walking in this light, yet there's shadows chasing us all the time. So, we've got to learn that a lot of the derogative statements coming towards us is not necessarily about you per se. It's about the situation. They're purging. This world is purging a lot of black tar at the moment. They're feeling unheard and unseen because the cloud of the program is starting to shorten their voice. So yeah, don't always think that it's necessarily directed at you, is probably what I'm trying to say. It's a collective spew.
That's right. I want to use that one. Yeah, and I find if it does happen to get some of it will just wash off me. If it happens to get my aura, if I happen to take the hit and I feel it, I go, okay, what is this? What? And I reached out to Wendy and I said, what was coming through for me when we're talking about the show was this concept of nemesis. But for me, the nemesis is the aspect of self that I'm seeking to overcome, and I can use it almost like a platform to spring off. It doesn't feel good in the moment when your aura takes a hit. It's like, whoa, come on. But there are ways to use that to strengthen self and to rise, or expand the consciousness, even further. So I say salute to those people that troll me, slander me. You're only helping me, guys.
Absolutely. Never give up.
Well, remember, they're part of the AI program. You're starting to troll or carry on like a pork chop, you just hit delete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they say? I'm not a social media freak, but unfriend. Goodbye.
Yep.
I just do the little astral trick to just shrink them into like a little bag, and it's just like, yeah, you're just over there going, I can't hear what you're saying. They get infuriated by that.
Little boys and girls playing their little games, trying to be heard.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm curious, to ask you, Tone and Wendy, about your views on, are they sentient, and will they evolve? Will they evolve, or is this just part of the simulation? And as we transcend this particular program ourselves, for want of a better word, it just ceases to exist.
If they're ensouled, it's a free will choice. They have the choice ultimately to choose. Do I want to evolve, or am I happy where I'm at? If they're not ensouled, the chances are pretty low on that, because they're part of that construct. And like Chris said, they're basically a program being ran by the construct, being ran by the simulation. But each individual soul, that is up to them. You can say, that's one of my biggest things. I tell everybody, my highest priority is to evolve this particular aspect or fractal of soul out of this place and never return to it again. And so I'm commanding that through my free will, saying I do not want to continue to come down here in this low vibrational state. I know what I'm here to do. I'm here to help and assist the collective consciousness, and also to evolve my consciousness within this particular vehicle. But once that's done, my highest priority is to evolve out of here and never return again.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Well, final words, and we'll sign off for today. Unfortunately, we did get kicked off Facebook, because that's where the party was really going to be today. Thanks to the people that are here on YouTube. And I didn't get all the comments up, but we do appreciate everyone, sticking with us. There's quite a good number here, which is lovely. So, Wendy, final words, my love.
I always want to remind everyone just to make your words and your actions come from your heart center always. You do that, you can't go wrong.
Beautiful. And Chris.
Something that's just sort of coming through to me is sometimes it feels like it's going swimmingly, and other times it can get a little tough, and we oscillate between those two adventures and journeys here. But literally it is a mission, and it will end. There's an assignment time, and once we fulfill that, and we can walk away with our heads held high here. And I know a lot of people that I do meet are doing the absolute best that they can, and they're really shining a great light down here. So, yeah, I know in those tough times, it's just understand that, look, there is an end point, there is an end game, and this mission will be complete, and we will not fail. We did not come here to fail. This will end, and it will be completed successfully. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that is on that mission and continually spreading their love and their wisdom. And we see you and we feel you, and we're greatly appreciative that you answered the call and you're here too. So just want to send out a really big thank you to everyone, and much love.
And you, Tone.
Yeah, on that line, every ensouled being is important to all of creation. You are a piece of the cosmic puzzle, and without you, life would not be as it is. And you are that important no matter what your role is. Just keep coming back into your heart, operating from your heart, operating from your intuition, operating from your empathy, and you cannot fail. Just stay the course. It will be better. Better days are ahead.
Beautiful. Otherwise, you're going to look like one of those grey aliens. And guys, I don't know. Like we said, we're not about the body, but look, I do have certain requirements. So that's it. Keep this heart open. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I kind of want to keep asking you 2 questions, but I'll do it telepathically.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Lovely to see you. Thanks for coming on and giving your
All right.
time.
Much love, guys.
Much love.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Namaste.
Namaste.